Good morning, friends. We are looking at Finding Both Parts, Part C, Lesson 8.12. Let's go ahead and jump right in. For question check-in, let's make sure that those listening ears are turned on. You can show me that your eyes are on my screen. You can hold up cactus hands for me. Show me that you're not holding any toys, pencils, markers, or anything that could distract you. And go ahead and wave good morning to each other. You can put your hands down and take a deep breath. Go ahead and let that breath out. Are you going to give this lesson your absolute best? Give me 2 thumbs up. Fantastic. Remember that we are recording every lesson that we have here so that you can go back and watch the recording again if you ever need to. And don't forget about our classroom rules. These are our lesson goals for today. I can review what I learned about finding both parts in combined story problems, and I can show what I know about finding both parts in combined story problems. Good morning. So today I get to help you review what you've learned about finding both parts in combined story problems. Remember, combined story problems are where we have 2 parts. We put them together in these problems. Both parts are missing, so we'll need to find them. There are 3 problem-solving steps that we always go over in every class or recording that we do because I want them to stick in your brain and be engraved in your brain. So let's go over them. Understand it, plan it, and solve it. When we understand a problem, we first read the problem and then we underline what we know or what we've been given. This can be keywords or numbers that we see in the story problem. Then we want to highlight or underline what is in the question. What are they asking me for? I highlight keywords or try to figure out what is it that I'm missing. Am I missing the part? Am I missing the total? And then I can decide at that point what I need to find. Do I need to find one of the parts or one of the totals? How am I going to do that? Do I need to add? Do I need to subtract? And that is all done during step 1, understand it. During step 2, plan it, we want to make a plan to solve by choosing a strategy. So we either choose the number bond, part total table, number line. We could also draw a picture. We could use the counting on method. Some type of strategy is chosen during the make a plan step. Then what we do is we plug in what we've been given. So the numbers that we've been given, we plug them into our strategy. Whether it's the parts or the total or one part, one total, or just the total, we plug that into our strategy. That way we have it all set up for success and set up to solve. After we do this, we complete step 3, which is to solve it. By using the strategy that we chose, we can solve the problem, and then we want to make sure we write out our answer in a complete sentence or at least in a complete way. So if my problem is about buttons, how many buttons Sandra has, I want to make sure that I write it out. Sandra has 15 buttons in all, or you could just write 15 buttons. All right, I'm going to model this in I do time, and then we are going to have some we do and you do time. It says Sarah has 18 rocks. Some are smooth and the rest are bumpy. How many of each type of rock could Sarah have? So the first step, our step 1, understand it, is I want to draw a circle or underline what I've been given. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. So I know that Sarah has 18 rocks, and I'm drawing a circle around the number 18 because that's the most important part of that. Some are smooth. I'll underline the word some. Some are smooth, and the rest are bumpy. So I know Sarah has 18 rocks. Some are smooth, some are bumpy. Now let's go to my question, and I'm going to highlight the key parts of my question. How many of each type of rock could Sarah have? And I'm also going to underline that word could. All right, so here's what I know. I know that Sarah has 18 rocks. Some are smooth and the rest are bumpy. which tells me that 18 rocks is my total. That's the amount of rocks that I have in all, okay? And so I'm going to write the letter T above 18 rocks. I know that some are smooth, one of my parts, and the other part that I have are the bumpy rocks. So 18 rocks total, part of that includes smooth rocks, the rest of that includes bumpy rocks, right? My question is, how many of each type of rock could Sarah have? Which means we can have different answers here, right? So my answer for this problem, if you were doing it with me, your answer could look different from my answer. As long as both parts equal 18 rocks altogether, it doesn't matter how many you choose for each part, okay? As long as it equals 18 altogether. So what do I need to do to solve? If I've been given my total, but I'm trying to find my two missing parts, I can either add or subtract for this. I could choose a number less than 18 and then use my counting on method, or I could subtract to figure out my answer. So I could go either way for this. But so I'm going to put a plus and a minus sign here to indicate that I can either add or subtract. And I know, what am I looking for? How many of each type of rock could Sarah have? I'm looking for both of my parts. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, I can move on to step 2, planet. In step 2, planet, I'm choosing a strategy to set up for success in order to solve. Now, I'm going to choose the number bond here because I prefer that method. And so this is what my number bond looks like. After I would draw my number bond, I need to plug in what I've been given. I've been given my total, which is 18, but I'm missing both parts, so I'm just going to leave my 2 part bubbles blank. Okay, Sarah has 18 rocks. Some are smooth, the rest are bumpy. How many of each type of rock could Sarah have? Well, I know that my numbers are both going to be less than 18, right? Because added together, they equal 18, which means that I can choose any number that is less than 18 for my first part. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this very simple and choose the number 17. That's so easy, right? 17 is less than 18. How many is 17 less than 18? So I'm going to now use my counting on method. I'm going to count on from 17 and draw how many times I count on until I reach 18. Ready? 17, 18. I drew one circle, which means that 17 plus 1 equals 18. And I know that's true, right? 17 plus 1 equals 18. And there's my answer. That's it. You could have made this more difficult. Okay. You could have made this more challenging and chosen a number less than 18, but not one less. We could have chosen the number 5. 5 plus what will give me 18? I'm going to count on until I hit the number 18. Ready? 5. I'm counting on from 5 up until I reach 18, and I'm drawing a circle for each time that I count on. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fabulous. Now, how many times did I count on? Let's count our circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Counted on 13 times, which means 5 plus 13 equals 18. And I need to write my answer out. I did not do that the last time, sorry. 18, no, not 18. How many of each type of rock could Sarah have? She could have 5 smooth, and 13 bumpy rocks. And there we go. All right. We completed I Do Time. Sorry, I just skipped through that because I didn't need the other slides, but we completed I Do Time. Now you can take a brain break. During that brain break, also grab something to write on, something to write with, so that you can do We Do Time with me. So I Do Time was for you to just watch and listen. Now you get to work with me during We Do Time. You can pause this video, grab your materials, and then come back to your seats when you're ready to go. All right, guys, here we go. We are going to start with step 1, understand it by reading the problem. You don't have to write anything down yet, just read the problem with me. 11 buttons are in a box. The buttons could be circles or squares. How many of each type of button could be in the box? I read the problem. Now I need to underline what is important and what I've been given. For this part, I want you guys to write down what I underline. You can write it down small at the top of your board or at the top of your paper. So I've been given 11 buttons are in a box. You don't have to write all of that down if you don't want to, just what you think is important. It says the buttons could be circles or they could be squares. Okay, so I've been given 11 buttons in a box. The buttons could be circles or they could be squares. My question is, and I'll highlight this part, how many of each type of button could be in the box? And I'll underline that word could. That's important. All right, let's read it again. 11 buttons are in a box. The buttons could be circles or they could be squares. How many of each type of button could be in the box? Which means that I've been given my total, right? My total is 11 buttons. The buttons could be circles or they could be squares. So I am missing my parts. My 2 parts are missing. How many of each type of button could be in the box tells me I'm looking for 2 parts, and my answer, I could have different answers for this, right? As long as both numbers added together equal 11. So both numbers need to be less than 11, but added together, they need to equal 11. That's the only catch. So that makes it so much fun, right? I am going to now decide that I'm going to add for this. I could subtract, but I prefer adding and adding on. So I'm going to add for this. So now I can move on to step 2, plan it. What I would love for you to do now that you wrote down the key parts for understand it time, now I want you to draw your number sentence, because that's going to be the strategy that we use to plan and solve, is the number sentence strategy. So go ahead and draw square plus square equals square. You can pause this video when you're ready, press play. All right, fabulous friends, let's go ahead and move on. So 11 buttons are in a box. The buttons could be circles or squares. How many of each type of button could be in the box? Blank plus blank equals blank. I know that in a number sentence, my total is going to come after my equal sign because I'm adding. So when I'm adding, my equal sign goes at the end of the number sentence after the equal sign. So that means that I need to write the number 11 right here. Now, I'm trying to figure out which 2 parts could I have for my buttons. I'm going to choose my first number, and it's going to be just a number that is less than 11. I'm going to choose the number 8. So one of my parts has already been chosen. And now what I'm going to do is count on from 8 up until I hit 11. And each time I count, I'm drawing circles. So go ahead, make sure on your board that you have square plus square equals square. Have an 8 in that first square, and after the equal sign, you have the number 11. When you have all of that, you can pause the video and catch up. When you have it, press play, and then we'll move on to the counting on part. So I chose my strategy to solve, right? I plugged in what I know, and then I am now moving on to step 3, solve it, and I'm going to count on from 8 until I reach 11. Ready? 8, 9, 10, 11. I counted on 3 times, which means 8 plus 3 equals 11, which means how many of each type of button could be in the box. Sorry guys, let me erase that. So I could have 8 circles. Sorry guys about my handwriting. And 3 squares. And that is my answer. Okay? So I want you to pause this recording. Make sure that you have 8 circles and 3 squares. 8 plus 3 equals 11 on your boards. Counting on. You are more than welcome to take a picture and send this to me. I'm only going to require that you send me one picture, either we do time or you do time. However, I do want to make sure you're still doing this. So even if you don't send me the picture of we do time, if you choose to only send me the picture of you do time, learning coaches, please make sure that your student is still practicing and doing this problem, because it's so important for them to practice and get better and better at these different strategies or different concepts in our units. Take a brain break. It is well deserved. Once you have that finished, you have the picture taken, and you send it to me on ClassDojo email or text message, students, go take a brain break. You can return when you're finished. All right, boys and girls, it is you do time. What I want you to do is, and I'll go ahead and read the problem with you. I will underline what's important and circle, underline, highlight what you need to know. So I'll complete step 1, understand it with you, but step 2, plan it, and step 3, solve it, is for you to do on your own. So after I do step 1, understand it, you will pause this video. You will do it all the rest on your own. And then your learning coach can text me a picture, email, or ClassDojo a picture, and that will be your credit for watching this recording. Unless you already sent the picture of We Do Time, however, you still need to complete this, okay? So even if you chose to send a picture of We Do Time instead of You Do Time, I still need to see that I still need to know that you're doing this. So please, learning coaches, make sure your students are actually doing You Do Time. It's very important for them to practice. So anyways, let's go ahead and work through step 1, understand it. I will first read the problem. Raj has 15 crayons. Some crayons are red, the rest are yellow. How many of each color crayon could Raj have? And it gives you answer choices. So the answer could be 0 red and 15 yellow, 2 red and 13 yellow, 11 red and 5 yellow. Some of these could be correct, some of these could be incorrect, right? So it just depends on you working it out and figuring out what's correct or not, okay? So I actually find this very confusing. So I am going to just blot that out. Sorry guys, I find them giving you those answer choices is confusing, and I want you to just work on it without them. Just trust me. Okay, so let's go ahead and circle what we know, what we've been given, or underline what we know. We know that Raj has 15 crayons. Some crayons are red, the rest are yellow. How many of each color could Raj have? So I know here that my total is 15, and I am missing my 2 parts. Some crayons are red, some are yellow. Those are my 2 parts. How many of each color crayon could Raj have? Now you get to work on step 2, plan it, and step 3, solve it. Choose a strategy, show your work. I want to see beautiful work when your parents send me your pictures of your work. You can pause this video and press play when you are ready to check your work because I'll work through the problem. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work through the problem. So I'm moving on to step 2, plan it, and I'm going to choose a strategy to solve. I'm going to choose the number bond, and then I need to plug in what I've been given. I know that 15 is my total. I'm trying to find my 2 missing parts, and so I'm going to choose one part. I'm going to choose the part 6 because it's less than 15. You could have chosen a different part, and that's totally fine. As long as it's less than 15 and together your 2 parts add up to equal 15, you're fine. So I chose the number 6. I'm going to count on from 6 until I reach 15. Ready? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many times did I count on from 6 up until I reached 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Which means my other part is 9. I know this is true because 6 plus 9 equals 15. So that could be one of my answers. How many of each color crayon could Raj have? He could have 6 red and 9 yellow crayons. Okay, that could be an answer choice. Now, the reason I erased this was I just found it confusing because they gave you different options. And let's go ahead and look at them now, though, and see which ones were correct. So 0 red and 15 yellow, that could be right. 2 red and 13 yellow, 13, 14, 15, that equals 15. That could be right. 11 red and 5 yellow would equal 16, so that would not be a correct answer, but the other 2 could. I wanted you to just try to practice it on your own and coming up with your own way and get creative. So 6 plus 9 equals 15. If you chose 2 other parts that added up to equal 15, that's perfect too. Wonderful job, you guys. Let's go ahead and review what we learned. We reviewed what we learned about finding both parts in combined story problems, and we showed what we knew about finding both parts in combined story problems. This was a lot of work, but you guys rocked it and did amazing. I cannot wait to see your We Do or your You Do time learning coaches. Make sure to text, email, or Class Dojo a picture of that. So proud of you guys. You may log off, and I'll see you next time. Bye.